welcome. My cold is still not yet solved. However, I was like, I want to stream a bit. So, usual format as always. I play a game. In this case, I'm going to play some Elder Scrolls Legends story, so I don't have any turn timer. And then I'll just watch the chat and try to answer all your lore questions. I have to say that, just like always, I am not the expert on the majority of subjects, and therefore I will often refer you to other videos, or I will try to answer the questions as far as I can, but I won't be able to give a definitive answer. Most things 4th era I can give something on. 3rd era also. Kirkbride lore I don't know anything on. Well, I know some things, but I nearly am not knowledgeable enough to give something on that. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people want to hear that. And 1st and 2nd era lore I'm also not that well versed in. But I can always try, and otherwise I can refer you to good videos I've seen or good internet pages I've seen. So, let's just get started, because I wanted to do this little intro and now I'm going to watch the chat. Why we know so little about the Aelids is the first thing I see. Well, why we know so little about the Aelids? Just because there's not that much information and they lived quite a while ago. For example, we do know a little bit about the Dwemer. Oh wait, I'm doing it the other way around, am I not? Oh, no. Well, the Dwemer left like a lot of sources, but somehow the Aelids just didn't. I don't exactly understand why either, and now I'm thinking about it, sorry. But I'm going to play some Elder Scrolls Legends story. Oh no, this is not story. Sorry. I do have 2 episodes of these. However, I wanted to play the Forgotten Heroes saga again, because I haven't played it in a long time. I've actually only finished the entire saga once. Alright, that was it. Sorry, I forgot. Hugo Bernard just gave the answer in the chat. Well, it's one of the contributing assets, one of the contributing factors that the Alessian Order actually destroyed a lot of things about the Aelids. Do you think it's weird Elder Scrolls, 4 out of 5 Elder Scrolls main games were all ruled under one emperor in the height of the empire? Well, oh wait, I know what you mean, like Uriel Septim VII. That the first 4 games were, for the first 4 main games were under Uriel Septim VII. Well, actually, I think that's kind of interesting, because we get to see like the empire in the height of its power, but also, as a lot of people have said under my videos, is that since Arena we have seen the empire decline, and we've actually seen an even more declined version, of course, in Skyrim, when they lose all their provinces. Whether their military strength has declined, I'm not going to comment on that, because I think, well, my opinion doesn't really matter. However, I think that one of the main things you have to take from Elder Scrolls 1 to 4 in regards to the Empire is that you can really see the reign of Uriel Septim VII, and you can actually see the factors that helped the decline of the Empire. Well, it's not going well today with my voice. Oi, Imperial Knowledge, what happened to his face, the dwarf in Morrowind? Was he killed during the Red Year? I always assumed that Yagrum Bagarn was killed during the Red Year. And for the people that don't know who he is, Yagrum Bagarn is, like, as far as we know, the only Dwemer that was still alive during the 3rd era. He sort of survived the whole thing with the Dwemer disappearing by being in another plane of oblivion at the time. However, he was then in Morrowind, and he was actually under one of the Telvanni cities. I believe it was under the city of Devate Fear, but I'm actually not sure. But I personally think that he died during the Red Year. That's my personal belief, since we know that a lot of Vardenfell was destroyed, and it's actually, if I'm remembering correctly, the city where he was located, Yagrum Bagarn, was in one of the most destroyed areas. So unless he was evacuated, which doesn't seem very likely since he's not like the most mobile creature in Morrowind, we can assume that he actually died during the Red Year. Did you notice that the letters of the Elder Scrolls 6 are similar to other games? To older games, yeah, it's actually pretty similar, but that's actually pretty logical because it's all the same font. Wait, let me just Google it real quick. Sorry. Oh yeah, it's just like the same with the other old games. It's Vivek is dead because no one worships him anymore. That's kind of debated, as far as I know, but I don't know enough about Vivek. I really should focus on my game though. Cool. Dunmer are good, the rest is scum. Is there a Dutch version of the Elder Scrolls? Well, there's actually some Dutch mods for the Elder Scrolls, and I remember there being like a High Rock mod made by, actually made by a Dutch guy, and you could actually hear his accent, just like mine, in all the voice acting. Basically, he did all the voice acting himself. I actually loved that mod. It was really terrible, but it was just too funny. Cyrodiil Empire is real empire. Yeah, it is. How impactful do you feel the ending of the Septim Dynasty / start of the Mede Dynasty was for the Empire? Well, the ending of the Septim Dynasty was actually one of the most impactful happenings for the Empire. Why? Because basically the Empire before that point had been pretty stable, because it had... what is happening in this lane? Oh, I see. OP soldier. Well, the Empire had been pretty stable up until that point because it had a stable line of succession. When the line ended, when the Septim line ended, the stable line of succession was also gone. What that meant for the Empire was that it was led by the potentate Okato for some time, and potentate Okato was actually pretty was pretty well underway in healing the Empire. However, when he, the last remnant of the Septim government, was killed off, like the last powerful remnant of the Septim government was killed off, the entire Empire went into chaos. I mean, the whole reason we see the entire Empire fragmented, part of the reason that we see the Empire fragmented, is because the Septim line ended. And eventually the Mede Dynasty picked it up again and rebuilt the Empire to, well, less of a chaos. But I mean, it's still a shadow of its former glory. And the whole reason that the Empire declined into what we see right now is the ending of the Septim Dynasty. I really believe that if Martin Septim had been alive at the end of Oblivion, that we would still have a 9-province empire. Make the Empire great again. Yes, it is. Do you think Vivek was inspired by Buddha? I don't actually know, because I don't know enough about Buddhism. Sorry. I actually read a while ago sorry, something about Buddhism. But in my opinion, it doesn't really seem very similar. But I could be very wrong, because I really don't know enough about Buddhism. Sorry. Imperials are boring. Well, kinda. I don't know, they bring stability, but stability is boring for games. But I don't really think that's what you meant. I would like to see an Elder Scrolls game taking place in Argonia or elsewhere. Me too, me too. How would you be able to tell the Akavir men from Tamriel men? Well, they were like a separate race of men, like the men of Akavir. As far as we know, they no longer exist. However, they would be just like the Nords, the Imperials, the Bretons. They would be a separate race of men with their own racial traits. I mean, we've seen one Akaviri man in Oblivion, but he was just the model for his ghost was just an Imperial. So we don't know if they were, maybe they were Imperials, but I think that was just a lazy part from the developers, and that they were actually a completely separate race of men with their own racial traits, but we don't quite know that. The most solid lead we have is that they must have been something like the Imperials, because Bethesda decided to use an Imperial ghost for him during Oblivion. Zork, what are your thoughts on the political / military state for the Empire for Elder Scrolls 6? I don't know. I do. I have made a video about the military strength of the Empire, multiple actually, at the end of Skyrim, or at the beginning of Skyrim, both. However, we don't know how far in the future Elder Scrolls 6 is. It might be after the Great War, it might be directly after Skyrim, it might be after the Second Great War. We actually don't know. So for the actual military strength of the Empire, I can't really say much for Elder Scrolls 6, because we don't know what Bethesda is going to do with Elder Scrolls 6 and when it's going to be set. We simply don't know that. Weren't they supposed to look like snakes? Yeah, but there's like the Saci. Those are the snake people of Akavir, and you have like the men of Akavir that apparently have died off by the time of the invasion, because either the Saci killed them all or they never kind of existed. It's basically a couple of interfering sources that we have, and basically the thing that's most commonly accepted across the internet and across all the lore people is that there were once man and snake people in Akavir. Those men, somehow a couple of them ended up on Tamriel, probably with one of the invasions. However, we don't know if they were the snake people or not, but a lot of people assume it happened that way. And then the men of Akavir were killed by the snake people of Akavir. That's the way that most people accept it. Oh, I thought the Dragon Guard were Saci. Well, they were. There were multiple Akaviri invasions, and really, it's really vague, because in one they're called the Saci, in the other they aren't, and it's just vague. It's really vague. I believe that Avarti actually did a video on them, explaining how it could work, and he did something with the interfering sources. However, I don't quite remember what it was. It was quite a while ago since he published the video. Do you think Bethesda will ever make an Elder Scrolls game that takes place in Akavir, or at least uncover more about their lore, land and species? Well, that last one, certainly. They will certainly do something more with their lore and the species of Akavir. That's almost for certain. Taking place on Akavir? Maybe Elder Scrolls Online will take us to Akavir at some point. It's possible. But I don't really think that, unless they've covered all the provinces of Tamriel, I don't really think they will take us to Akavir anytime soon. That's basically because they need, like, for some game probably, like a looming presence of another continent that's kind of unknown. And Akavir is actually pretty good for that. But then again, I'm not Bethesda. Perhaps Elder Scrolls 6 is even Akavir. I mean, we don't know. Everything's possible. However, I just don't think it is that way. But I never have to take my opinion as fact, of course. I hear the version that the Saci are just the people, just another race. Yeah, well, again, it's kind of kind of weird. Yokuda has sunken, yes it has. Champion of Morrowind, hello. What about a strategy game based on the Elder Scrolls? I would love that. I would love that. I actually play a lot of Elder Scrolls Total War, and I could have won this already. Sorry. Or Septim Bastard. What is it, Ataro? Sorry, I didn't read your previous comment. Then a Reverine is here. Hello. Lig in the distant future. I think there will be more Lig lore, if anything, but I think Akavir is the most logical distant continent that they might take us to, if any of the other continents is going to be explored. I don't think any of them will be explored, but they might do it, and in the case they might, it's probably not Lig. I'm sorry. There is Elder Kings, Crusader Kings 2 mod. I know, but I don't play Crusader Kings 2. I really want to, but I really don't have the time. Is Dovahkiin a descendant from Alessia? As far as I understood it, no. The Dovahkiin, as far as I understood it, is blessed by the gods separately. So outside of the line of Alessia. That's the way I understood it. But I don't really remember that well what the entire thing with the Dovahkiin was. I believe he was just a nobody who was blessed. But I'm trying to remember what the guy said. But I don't remember. Sorry, I don't remember. What's your favorite breed of Khajiit? I don't actually know. I don't know all of them from the top of my head, but I know the one that's like almost like a house cat, and I always found it funny, like a Khajiit, and like the smallest breed of Khajiit, and he's had like a house cat. That's something I found funny. Are you excited for Cyberpunk 2077, mate? I don't know, because on one hand it looks cool, on the other hand I haven't seen enough, and on another hand I don't know if my PC can run it. Do you believe the Dragonborn is an avatar of Shore? Well, someone explained that theory to me. It's a theory, for the people that don't know. A lot of people say that the Dragonborn is actually an aspect of Shore, or reincarnation of Shore, or whatever, how you want to put it. It's because when you go to Sovngarde, Shore's throne is empty. And they say nobody except for Shore can go sit on that throne, and then the Dragonborn can sit on the throne. That's in very short how the theory goes. I know there's more to it. I think that if you put it like that, it sounds very logical. And it might be, but it might also be just us overthinking it. But on the other hand, it might be true. I don't really have any thoughts on these kind of theories. Like, yeah, they could be true. And I could see them happen. I could see them being confirmed in later games. But I could also see them not being confirmed. I think it's a solid theory, though. What's your favorite race in the Elder Scrolls universe? Imperials. Falmer do not have black souls, and the mushroom shouldn't have had any effect on a Falmer offspring, if it's eaten anymore. I think that's kind of a... how do you say that? Like a plot hole, something the developers didn't think enough about. The Falmer not having black souls. Or perhaps they're corrupted just beyond being a black soul and they've become a white soul. Do you think the next Elder Scrolls hero will be a nobody or again the hero of Legends? I hope a nobody. I hope that you'll once again help the hero like you did in Oblivion and not be the hero. I would like that, but... Why the Dwemer had a giant dragon in Blackreach? Well, I think that the dragon actually fled to Blackreach after the Dwemer disappeared there. I don't really... Sorry. I don't really remember the story behind the dragon. I believe there was an entire story. So, if I'm wrong, I'm really wrong, of course. But, as far as I know, the dragon went there after the Dwemer disappeared. So, the Dwemer didn't have a dragon. Imperials are really boring. Dunmer are a master race. Dunmer are interesting. I just prefer the Imperials. Do you think we will see Alien attacking Tamriel in the future, like what Breath of the Wild was going to be? Probably not, because the way that the Arubis, so the universe of the Elder Scrolls, is, I don't really see them being invaded by aliens, since there probably aren't really aliens in the Arubis. I mean, technically, if you take it like planet-wise, I mean, like the minions of the Daedra and the Aedra are kind of aliens. So technically Oblivion was that. But, I mean, the universe of the Elder Scrolls isn't like our own universe where you can just have aliens. What about the cures for vampirism? Are there some other than those in games? I don't really understand your question, sorry. Or it's just a language barrier, probably, sorry. Oh, hello, buddy, how are you? I am very fine, Periotics, how are you? My Khajiit bro is here. Yeah, he was here. Hey, hello, sir. Are the Hist living gods like Game of Thrones old gods? It's actually a possibility that they were some kind of spawn from Daedra, as far as I was informed. However, I don't see them really as living gods. Together they might have the power of one, but an individual history isn't that strong as far as I know. What are your thoughts on Daggerfall? Like the city or the game? I like the game, but the city was a bit disappointing in ESO. The German Oblivion version was translated so bad it was unplayable. A healing potion was called a fireball. Seriously? I've never played the German version, I'm not German. Technically, Argonians are the master race. They are the oldest, originally from Tamriel. If they can fend off everyone else, even the Daedra. Well, I see a point there. I mean, the Argonians, when working together, are crazy strong. Is Lorcan good or evil in your opinion? Well, thanks to him we have the Elder Scrolls universe, and thanks to him we kind of can play the games, so sure. When the Dragonborn dies, what happens to his soul? Which Aedra or Daedra decides his or her fate? Wasn't that Hermaeus Mora? Because in the end, like the last bit of canon questline that we had, in the Dragonborn DLC, Hermaeus Mora just claimed the Dragonborn soul. I believe that was the complete story, and then when the Dragonborn disappears from the stage, he gets claimed by Hermaeus Mora. That's the way I understood it. And that's also why the Dragonborn won't have any effect on the Second Great War or any other events, because after he disappears, after the player stops playing, the soul of the Dragonborn goes to Hermaeus Mora. That's the way I got it. Hey Prometheus, good to see you here. You can help me with the hard questions. The Dragonborn soul will probably go back to Talos, since he's some kind of aspect of Talos. If that's true, if like those theories are true, then it might be. But as Prometheus is right now saying, Sir Galahad, that's not really confirmed at this point. I looked at it and there isn't really any much proof for it. What makes the Elder Scrolls what makes that Elder Scrolls too important? Sorry for bad English. Doesn't matter. Normally I don't care about bad English, but right now I don't really understand the question, sorry. On the other hand, Nocturnal steals the Dragonborn soul too. Yeah, that's true. But the main quest lines and the DLC quest lines, those are sort of canon, as far as we know. However, the side quests, like the Dark Brotherhood side quest, the Thieves Guild side quest, they were done by someone and not necessarily the Dragonborn. So, Nocturnal has the claim over the soul of the one who did the Thieves Guild quest line, but not necessarily. That's not necessarily the Dragonborn. That's how it usually goes. Also, the Thalmor win 90%. No, like 50% maybe. I mean, the Empire and the Thalmor are pretty matched up against each other. What do you think Bethesda will do when there was a game in every province? Do you think they will do a game on another continent? Perhaps. But they might also just revisit the other provinces, because there are several hundred years that have gone by that by that point. Jesus, what's with my God damn it. I'm sorry. Alright. What happened to the Nordic pantheon in Skyrim? Well, the Nordic pantheon is like the original pantheon of the Nords, and as far as I understood it, worship of that largely ended after the introduction of the 8 divines, or the 9 divines, by the time of Skyrim, and Oblivion, and Morrowind, and actually all the other games. But not by the time of ESO, of course. Worship of that largely ended after that, when Alessia introduced it. That's as far as I understand it. Also, Molech Bal could claim the Dragonborn soul. Well, no. Let me explain this first, because that's actually something that kind of confuses a lot of people. Something that was confirmed by like a quest in Morrowind, I don't really remember which one. Or I don't know. Or by a quest, I don't really remember in which game it was confirmed. However, the main quests of a game, so in Oblivion, the Oblivion Crisis quest, and also the main DLC quests, like the Shivering Isles, those are canon. In Skyrim, it's the main quest, the Dawnguard side of the Dawnguard quest, and the Dragonborn DLC. The other quest lines is something that happened, but that hasn't been done by the Dragonborn necessarily. It's a possibility it's been done by the Dragonborn. However, there's also a possibility it hasn't been done by the Dragonborn and it's been done by completely someone else. Therefore, when looking at what will happen to the hero after the games, according to for the next games, you always have to take into account that the other quest lines might not have been done by that hero. Therefore, the only ones that actually have a claim on the Dragonborn soul is basically Hermaeus Mora, because the other gods or Daedra involved in any other quests, they have the claim on the one that did that quest line, but that's not necessarily the Dragonborn, if you understand what I mean. What happens if the Empire loses the Skyrim? I think it loses the High Rock a little time later, and the Altmeri boys invade Cyrodiil because Empire won't. Okay, I think that I understand what you mean. If the Empire loses Skyrim, there's a big chance it does lose High Rock, but there's also a big chance it doesn't lose High Rock, because Skyrim and the Empire, whether Skyrim is independent or not, they will have to work together. Just for common sense, they have to work together against the Dominion, because the Dominion basically wants to, well, establish dominion over them. So, just like Hammerfell and the Empire, they also have to work together for their own survival. So, the Empire wouldn't be necessarily cut off from High Rock if it negotiates a deal with Skyrim. And also, something you have to remember is that High Rock is basically in there for the trade and for just the Empire's money, because High Rock is basically always choosing for the best option in terms of, well, just cold hard cash, and that's in this case the Empire and remaining within the Empire. So even if the Empire would lose access to High Rock over land, I am very convinced High Rock would still stay within the Empire. You think that the next Elder Scrolls should have an evil or bad choices in the main story? Yes. The lack of choice in Skyrim was really something that disappointed me. Is Allmaker real, the only monotheistic god? That's something that is pretty much debated. Could the Oblivion Gates open again? I see a big possibility of that happening. I actually made a video on that, Nicola Jurican. I made a video on whether Tamriel is now safe from the from Oblivion, and the answer is pretty much no, because people like Martin Septim's sacrifice made it so that the liminal barrier, which is like the veil between Nirn and Oblivion, is closed from the inside. So whenever a Daedra wants to come to Nirn, that's impossible. However, if someone opens the door from the inside, so summons a Daedra, that's still very much possible. And there's actually a way for you to make an Oblivion Gate, even when after Martin Septim's sacrifice. And I'll cover that in the video, because during the Great War, Narrowfin actually opened an Oblivion Gate. Do you really have a request list? Yes, I actually do. It's even automated now. Largely. High Rock Civil War is very likely. Well, High Rock has always kind of been at war with each other, except for the last few hundred years, so a new one might happen. Can you understand German when you read it? I'm German and I can understand a bit of Dutch when I read it. Well, I've had a bit of Dutch, a little bit of German in my high school back in the day, and that's helped me that I can actually read German and even speak a very little bit of German. So whenever I stand with a German, I can sort of converse with that person, but not to a level where I can actually explain lore or anything in German. That's not really possible. Hey, I made a video about Ekatosh. Yes, you actually did. The Dragonborn soul wouldn't be claimed by Kynareth in the end. Isn't she the one who kind of gave the Dragonborn the Dragon soul, or was it Ekatosh? I don't quite remember that. Aramithius helped me with that. Helped me with the question of Pedro Rodriguez, because I don't really remember who was the one who gave the Dragonborn the Dragon soul. Was it Ekatosh, or was it Kynareth or Kynus in the Nordic Pantheon? Elder Scrolls 6 could learn something from The Witcher 3. Yeah, but The Witcher 3 can also learn something from Elder Scrolls, in my opinion. Because I haven't played very much Witcher 3. I've only played it at a friend's house and I didn't really like it very much. But I agree that the Elder Scrolls can learn a bit from The Witcher. Also, you should give full YouTube ownership to that Kuyo guy. I hear he owns YouTube. Yeah, he does. And maybe I should, because he's my financial director. And my water is actually depleted now, so wish my throat luck. Got it. Let's do a bit more of Legends. Cool. What's this? Destroy an undead. Cool. Have you played Kingdom Come Deliverance? Yes, I did, until it started bugging and my save file was lost. I came until like the fight at the barbarian camp. The one where you get to fight someone from the beginning of the game, and I won't spoil any more for people that haven't played it. Yeah, I have played it, Calmax Hero. Yes, you were too late. Prometheus is working on something great. I'm gonna arm myself and I'm going to do it next turn. Even if you didn't like Witcher 3, I advise you to read the original books. The world and lore are established great in my opinion. Well, I must say that The Witcher has some good lore established, because I have actually read some of the books a really long while ago, because a friend of mine has them all, the original books. Or at least like those little books you can buy from the franchise. I don't know if those are the original books. Then again, I haven't played enough The Witcher and I don't know enough about it. It's why I do Elder Scrolls and not Witcher lore. Otherwise I would be doing Witcher lore. If I knew more about The Witcher, of course. Can the Dragonborn immortal if he learns one of Alduin's shouts? I don't really think so. Lore question. Oh god damn it. There's a reason why some messages get filtered from the chat. A movie about Elder Scrolls would be great. Yes, if done right. But I don't really trust them to do it right. Why Alduin didn't try to kill, but I didn't see the message. Kill the traitor Miraak during the events of Skyrim. Because in chronological order, Miraak actually came after Alduin was defeated, if I'm speaking correctly. I'm really looking at the chat now for experts. But I believe that that was the case. And yeah, he's in Apocrypha, Transcat. You're actually more right than I was. Have you ever played Mountain Blade Warband? If not, would you play it? I've heard some pretty great things about it and I haven't played it yet. Sorry. I know that Mountain Blade is awesome. Snowhawk detachment, go. Oh, this was a pretty bad decision. I'm not gonna win this. No luck on the source, but I seem to refer that Arngeir's dialogue says the voice was a gift of Kinneret while he's explicitly named Akatosh. That's true. That's true. I recently did the main quest of Skyrim again while I was on vacation, and it's actually true. Arngeir says that Kinneret was the one who taught men how to use the voice. However, that the voice of the Dragonborn was a gift by Akatosh. It was something like that, and I'm really gonna quit this because I am losing. Yeah, Prometheus, you're right. It was Arngeir. I don't think a movie would be enough to develop a good amount of lore for a random viewer to understand the movie. That's true. However, if someone really does it right, I think that an Elder Scrolls movie could be done. And that it could be a success. But then again, I really urge them not to try it, because more than often video game movies are just not good. What race was Miraak? Nord. High fantasy of dark fantasy, high fantasy. I've read a lot of lore, but some of the hardest to find lore is on the Bosmers, Wild Hunts. Yeah, it's true. Bosmer lore is really, in my opinion, very much undervalued, and there isn't a lot on it. ESO does give us some more information though, but I haven't played all of ESO yet. When does it say that that you are the last Dragonborn? Is it probably there could be others? Well, it's assumed that this is the last Dragonborn, as far as I understand it. And that assumption came also from a piece of dialogue in Skyrim, but I don't really remember which one it was. That deck is pretty weak, yeah it is. Is the prophecy given in the book of the Dragonborn supposedly taken from an Elder Scroll? Oh yeah, that was it. Sorry. Dragon Blood is possible, but Dragon Shoot isn't likely, huh? What? Spell Sword is pretty weak, yeah it is. I just like my deck because it has a lot of Imperials. Video game movies are a cursed market, yeah it is. Because if they are done right, they could be potentially very good. However, they're usually not. Do you think that in the imminent Second Great War, the Empire and Hammerfell will be allies? Yeah. No, it will not reintegrate Hammerfell into the Empire, probably because Hammerfell is right now an independent state, and independent states tend to, well, as long as they're successful, and I think Hammerfell actually is kind of successful, they don't really tend to join established nations, unless there's really some kind of advantage for them in it. But I really think they will be allies, and that they are already allies. If you think that they say that the main argument of Hammerfell against the Empire is that the Empire left them during the First Great War. That's a pretty valid thing to be angry about. However, if you think that 30 years after, no, less than 30 years, 10 years or 20 years, I don't know, less than the time from the Great War to Skyrim, in less of that time we actually let Germany join NATO, and that guy actually fought us. That country actually fought like the West back in World War II. I mean, why wouldn't the Empire and the Hammerfell be allies now? I mean, the Empire hasn't even attacked Hammerfell, and they both need an alliance, because the Altmeri Dominion will crush both of them if they don't work together. I heard the Bosmer can transform into Wild Hunt Beast during rituals. I heard something similar, but I'm not really an expert on that. Who is ruling Hammerfell around the 4th era? Forebears or the Crowns? Probably a coalition of both, because they were allies after the Great War, the Forebears and the Crowns, for the first time in a lot of time, actually. That the Forebears and the Crowns were allies. So probably they rule Hammerfell together now. What if the tower theory is true? The Empire... Oh, what? And the Empire... If the tower theory is true, the Empire will 100% win the Second Great War. And I don't really understand why you would say that. Sorry. My darkest nightmare. Disney purchased Elder Scrolls. Well, luckily for you, Disney doesn't really tend to purchase games, if I'm really correctly. They purchase genres, but... they mostly purchase genres for like movies, and Elder Scrolls is not something that has proven to be a good thing for movies, because it's never been tried, luckily. An Elder Scrolls movie / series would only work if someone wrote a script that plays the story first. Lord of the Rings has a great world, but a great story. So if someone wrote a great story, but... yeah, I can kind of agree with it, but I'd rather have them not try it, to be honest. I want the next game to be in Hammerfell. It doesn't really matter where the next game is, as long as it's a good game, in my opinion. Because they couldn't make test games anymore. What? I don't really understand, I'm sorry. Cravat Soldier. Arm yourself. What's your favorite Elder Scrolls character? Probably Septimus. I don't know, I just, for my first Skyrim playthrough, I was like, yeah, this guy's cool. Just for the sake of not being killed immediately. Oh, wait, he was. God damn it. I made a mistake there, yes. Do you think we will see the Sloat at some point in the next game? Actually, we see them now in the Somerset expansion of Elder Scrolls Online. So if you want to see more Sloats, there are apparently some in the Somerset campaign. When the Dominion wins and they unmake the world, there couldn't be an Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, but they won't unmake the world because that isn't their goal. Heimskr, my homie. What about Heimskr? Let's just use the Emperor. Because that guy is a good guy. And I should have put this one first. There's also more info on the Psijic Order in ESO Somerset, isn't there? Yes, there is. There is more info on ESO on the Psijic Order in ESO Somerset. If I'm... My whole life now just depends on keeping that guy shackled. If I can't do that, I'm just dead. It would be cool to see the Telvanni control main parts of Morrowind. Yeah, but it already did that before. Go his speaker. Why are you not... Oh, he silenced him manually. Okay, cool. Can you destroy a Daedric artifact forever, or can the Daedra recreate said art? What happened? Oh, I see. Go Thalmor. I'm just trying to rush this guy, but it's probably not gonna work. Wanna play against my Stormcloak or Thalmor deck? No. Because then I'll have a turn timer. And do you think that Saci are an over-fictionalized race of men? Many Cyrodiilic nobles have Akaviri names from them, descendants from the invasion of Tamriel. We actually talked about this in the beginning of the stream, and I don't really know which story to believe, whether the Saci were men or whether the Saci were actually snake people, because we have conflicting reports. I would really like for Elder Scrolls 6 to have a more racial diversity, like crossbreed between different races and people have more unique physical traits. That would be cool if they did that, but I don't know if they'll do that, because it would divert too much from what people know about Elder Scrolls. And Bethesda tends to not really divert from that, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe. What do you think about the Bosmer joining the Thalmor? Well, they certainly didn't agree with it. The Bosmer were actually... they were largely... Certainly in the first couple of years, they were kind of, well, rebelling against the Thalmor. Big time. And the Thalmor are actually currently having purges in Valenwood against their political enemies. Because apparently there's still a lot of political enemies against the Thalmor in Valenwood, because the Bosmer just didn't really agree on the whole let's join the Thalmor thing. Because the Thalmor actually see Bosmer as lesser creatures compared to the High Elves, but then again they see every creature as lesser. They joined the Dominion, not the Thalmor. Yeah, I know, but I mean, I get the question. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do much now. I'm gonna save that damage. I've probably already lost that, even though I can't see it right now. I don't care where the hell Elder Scrolls 6 it will be. I just want to join the Imperial Legion. Well, there's a big chance that that won't even be possible. Because if the Empire is destroyed in the next game, there might be like Imperial remnants. I mean, I hope it won't happen, but there is a chance that the Empire is destroyed in the next game. I mean, it's simply true. I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 will be set in 2 provinces like Elsewhere and Valenwood, because they would have more games on Tamriel before they go to a different place. And they did stretch the size of the world. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility that it's just one province. It's a possibility that it's multiple provinces. But I really share the sentiment that it's probably in one province. Even though I hope not, because I like a bigger world. As long as bigger world means Oh shit. How did Mana Marco become a god? I knew that, but I don't really remember. But I do remember seeing a video on it, and I don't really remember who was the one who made it. Other than that, I'm losing right now. Like big time. You know what? I'm just going to... I just dug my own grave. How cool am I? You know what? Concede. I'm just going to exit this game. It would be great for you to be able to for different endings. Well, that went well. I didn't expect it to like completely exit. All right. Well, we're just starting it up again then. What do you think about the Thalmor being the bad guys in the next game? I don't like the idea. They're probably being the bad guys in the next game because Bethesda has been building to it. But it could also be that they're like the side bad guys again. I don't really know. Oh, hi. Oh, we're here again. Okay. Okay, we're gonna concede then. Sure, whatever you want. Empire can get collapsed, right? I think if that happens, rest of the Empire will keep ruling Cyrodiil, or at least the Heartlands, Imperial City. Well, we actually had that after the Septim Dynasty collapsed. The Empire was not really much more than just the Imperial City. By the way, I did notice the questions about Dragon Break, etc. that are right now in the comments. However, I am not really an expert on it. Sorry. Do you think Elder Scrolls 6 will have a bigger focus on the main quest because Fallout 4 had that? I don't know. I think they learned from Fallout 4 and either they'll do that kind of a focus on the entire... on all the side quests, like the major side quest lines. Or they'll be back at like Skyrim, where you see a focus on all the quest lines. However, I would love to be for all the quest lines to be sort of connected, as long as you can avoid the connection when you want to. But that's probably not really possible. Is it possible that Thalmor may be destroyed from inside by a rebellion? Might be possible, but it seems like their control over the Dominion is like almost limitless. So I don't really think they'll be easily overthrown. Plus, in the Somerset Isles at least, it seems like they still have at least the popular backing. For the most part, they might have become a bit less popular after sort of losing the Great War. But I think they won't be overthrown that easily. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I agree, Nicola. Elder Scrolls 6 needs better combat. Are the Argonians a mind-controlled slave race? No, in general not. Well, as you might have heard by now, my voice is becoming increasingly worse and I'm actually having a very painful throat. So I'm going to stop the stream, sorry. Once again a very short stream, I know. And I didn't really manage to concentrate that well this time. I'm sorry, I hope next stream will be better. Probably tomorrow a video. I am not sure if I'm going to be able to do that with my current health. However, either tomorrow or the day after that video. Because after that I'll be starting with my new study. So after that there will be less time for videos. So I hope to finish at least one of my unfinished script of the 29 unfinished scripts I have right now. I hope to finish at least one of them in the coming days. So I will see you all later. I hope tomorrow or the day after that.